week's court decision that struck a blow to the government's domestic spy program. A federal court ruling the NSA's collection of millions of American phone records is now. Senator Richard Burr, chair of the Intelligence Committee. Thank you for joining us, Senator Burr.
Good to be with you. Thank you, Martha.
I want to start. You think this bulk collection of all Americans' phone records should continue?
Well, I do think it should continue for the simple reason that it's very effective at keeping America safe. And in addition to that, we've had absolutely no incident of anybody's privacy being intruded on. Let me just remind your listeners that we collect telephone numbers that are de-identified. We don't know whose they are. And the only time we're interested in them is we know that they have talked to a telephone number of a terrorist. And if that happens, we have to go to court, and a FISA judge looks at the evidence and gives us permission then to find out whose telephone number that is. It still does not allow us to look at any content of the conversation.
Certainly others feel very, very differently about this, Senator Burr. The USA Freedom Act is coming up for a House vote this week, expected to sail through. It stops the NSA collection of every American's phone records and targets instead only those with a reasonable suspicion they are related to terrorism. Why not back that?
Well, it's real simple. That turns us back to pre-9/11. We had the opportunity to do that even without a judge's order. We did it with a national security letter. And it was time-consuming, it was cumbersome, but that was the rules then. And what we looked at was the impact of 9/11 and the fact that we might have been able to stop 9/11 had we had bulk collection. Again, we
Do you have any proof that would happen? Do you absolutely think we could have done that had we had all these records?
Well, there's no absolute. I can only take the advice of those involved at the time, and because of the connection we couldn't make, they suggested that if we had been able to bulk collect telephone numbers, we could have traced and connected that dot and caught Al-Midhar, who was in San Diego. But the reality is that the bulk collection does not give us any American's name. So we go further now with the fact that we've got to go to court. That's a presidential directive before we can look at anybody from a standpoint of their identification and their telephone number. And if we had to go to content, I can assure you it would take another court order. I'm sure that the FBI
Burr,
in post-Texas.
Senator Burr, I want to move on in the minute or so we have left here to these warnings about ISIS within this country. And you heard those warnings, and we had Secretary Johnson talk about that. How concerned are you, and are we doing enough?
Well, let me just say that the men and women throughout the intelligence agency and through law enforcement are 24/7 on this. We've certainly seen an uptick in social media. We've seen the target of military individuals. There was every reason to raise the alert. We can't stay at this alert level 24/7, 365 days a year, but it's important that we respond to any potential uptick in terrorism. The intent is there. There are individuals in this country that are under surveillance, but the reality is there is no specifics, just like Garland wasn't a specific, but we did know about the individual. We had no reason to suspect exactly what the attack might have been.
Okay, thank you so much.